You're now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
to the Juxtaposition.Pod. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I think the experience, which goes into mine, I think the experience of providing these moments is what, like, you know what I mean? Like, guys like us want to provide, like, some sentiments, something that you can talk about. So I'll see if I can make mine brief because there's so many details involved with this thing. So
yeah, tell us about your animals, because all I had was New York pigeons.
I feel like he was holding that one, boy, this entire time. He was holding that one.
Yeah, he was. He kept that in the tuck. He's like, what animals does New York have? They got pit bulls.
Up. That shit was good, though.
So when we got together, once we got serious, I was like, I'm not trying to have a long time before I propose. And I low-key was like 2021 is going to be the year that I actually proposed. So pandemic flew by, right? 2020 just it's a beast. It's a whole thing. So coming into 2021, maybe around February, I was like, oh shit, it's 2021. Damn. Like, to myself, like what my goals, the things that I wanted to accomplish, I'm like, oh, it's the year. So I also knew that in July, we had a week off of work. So I was like, all right, boom. So the initial plan was to go to Maui, and we ever been to Maui. It was just like, I felt like it would have been fire to say, like, I propose in Maui, right? So looking at Maui prices, Maui is no longer the destination. So we had been to the island of Oahu, which was our first vacation together after we graduated grad school in 2019. So I was like, all right, bet we're going to go back to Oahu. So we knew that was happening, but also I was like, all right, let me start doing research for some rings. I had to go pick up my pandemic stuff from my office in San Francisco. And I was like, let me see if I can make an appointment at the place that I want to get her ring from. And it happened to be an hour before my reservation to go pick up my stuff from my office. I'm like, and it was the only reservation within like weeks. I'm like, okay, this might be a sign. So I went in there just to look. Man, I walked out of that thing with my card swiped. I was like, God damn. All the rings in there were fake. But I was able to configure it and get it to the way I want. It was a lot. So I'm like, damn, I just bought a ring. Like, I don't get it for another 3 weeks. So now I'm in touch with the photographer, the same company that James used I went with, called Flytographer. And what they do is to help you just coordinate photo shoots outside of the area that you're in. So I'm like, bet. I found a photographer that I wanted to go with. She's making suggestions about where we should go. I'm like, nah, I know where I want to go already. She's like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's out of these two locations. She's like, you should choose this one based on the area. I'm like, bet. So as we're getting closer, I had the conversation with her mom, and the conversation with her dad. Then I knew that she always wanted to have this proposal be dolo. She didn't want people around. She didn't want the whole to-do. She just wanted it to be her and I, and to make it so that it was more intimate. I've always known that. So we get to Hawaii. Mind you, the photo shoot location is an hour from where we're staying. So,
sheesh.
Right, having to drive. Let me back up a little bit. So in order to get her primed and ready to have a photo shoot, you always know that women want to have their nails done. They want to have their hair done. All those things are important. So I was going to go to paparazzi style like James, but I was like, if I know Tiff, she's going to pull up to the beach location with yoga pants and some Jordans. Like, nah, I got to make sure she right. So before we left, I was telling her, like, we don't have no pictures of ourselves at the crib. So like, well, we're going to our favorite place. Let's get some pictures. She was like, okay. I'm like, cool. So after I get the ring purchased, I had to just choose a ring size that I thought was going to work. And then the next day, literally, we was in the mall, and I saw like Helzberg diamonds like up the way. And I was like, okay, let me see if I can finagle a way to get her ring size. So out of nowhere, I'm like, yo, I want to get a class ring. And I'm like, you want to get a class ring? She's like, nah. I'm like, I've been wanting one for a while. Let me go get size, right? So walk over to get sized, and the dude asks her, like, do you want to get size too? And I say, like, nah, she don't need to get size.
Yeah, she good. She good on
Nah. Then I was like, then she looked at me like, for real? I'm like, I mean, I'm going to need your ring size eventually, so you might as well just get sized. got her ring size. I'll call these niggas the next day, like, yo,
Yeah.
I got her ring size. You know what I mean? Told them, we updated it, yada, yada, yada. So now we fast forward to actually going to Hawaii. So the day of, like y'all was saying, our appointment is at 8 a.m. on the other side of the island. We had to leave where we was at 6:30 a.m. It's a weekday, so it's traffic, all this stuff. So the photographer and I have been in lockstep. We knew exactly what was going on. She was super communicative. So we get there and she gave me, she told me over email, like, I'm going to have you set up, you stand in one place, Tiffany's going to run behind you, and then you're going to switch, and then you're going to run behind her, and then you're going to propose. I'm like, cool. So the first 15 minutes, she's doing a little impromptu pictures and shit. I'm like, all right, this is cool. And I'm like, I've been here for like 10 minutes. Like, is it time yet? Mind you, it's hot as fuck. It's like 8 a.m., super hot. So she's like, okay, Tiffany, stand here. No, she said, Var, stand here, and Tiffany's gonna run behind you. So Tiffany ran behind me, tickled me and shit. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. So I'm like, all right, got some really funny photos of me chuckling like a little girl. That's bad. That's cool. And then we switched, and it was like, okay, Var, Tiffany's going to stand there. You're going to run behind her, right? So, and then she turns to me like, dead. She said, now's the time. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, what are we doing?
Word.
Right. She's like, she's doing all these hand signals. She's just going over my head. I'm like, she's like, fist, 2, 3, thumb. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know. So
Photography
like,
language.
so I'm trying to mouth to her. She walks away like,
Like, what do you want?
like, so she just keeps snapping. So the objective was for her to be in front of Tiffany and I are probably like 100 feet apart. I'm behind her. She's facing the water in Hawaii. So she's like, all right, start snapping pictures. And she told Tiff that I'm going to run behind her, but I was supposed to walk real slow. So I'm walking, and then she shifts to be in between us. And then she gives me like a thumbs up. And I was like, I'm mouthing like, now? And she ain't say nothing. She just a snapping away. And before I knew it, she's like, Tiffany, turn around so we can get a better view of the light or whatever. And by that time that she was about to turn around, I got on one knee, and then she turned around and I was there. Now, 2 things about my fiance. She's blind and she had braids in her face. So we're like 100 feet away. So she's like, she sees me on my knee, but she's like processing that she's walking forward. And the photographer got all those steps for her walking. And when she flipped her hair back and she sees the ring, that's the picture that we got, just like the best. And that was like I was saying words. I don't know what I was saying. I said things.
You weren't saying nothing.
I was saying things. And then she was like, you're shaking. Like,
Parkinson's.
Right. The only time I had got nervous was when I was on one knee. It was so many logistics to worry about beforehand that I wasn't nervous until I got on one knee. Here's where the animals come in. So after I proposed, after she said yes, photographers taking pictures, we hugging and shit. Fucking dolphins come out the background. Fucking
damn.
Dolphins just fly out.
Money.
Word
right?
up.
That's
Right.
so- Can we all get a message? Can we all get a soundboard? 'Cause
Yo,
you
he
trying to
contacted them dolphins, boy.
I had to hit him up.
Right.
Yeah, that was
You
tough.
flew them in.
Yeah, imported some dolphins.
Yeah, you know what I mean? On
stick. Yeah,
cue.
Flipper all in the joint.
And the photographer, I wanted her to snap them, but she told us a story like her brother has been looking for dolphins for weeks. Bought a paddle board, went out to the ocean, couldn't find them. As soon as I proposed, the fucking dolphins came out, and I was like, "Yeah, this was dope." And that was our second day there, so I wasn't talking about hot potato. I wasn't trying to hold this thing for long. Like, we had a 5-day trip. Day 2, we landed one day, relaxed. Let's get to it tomorrow morning as soon as we possibly can. Get to it.
I feel that.
What's up?
Yeah,
That sounds super dope, bro.
Congrats again, my
Yeah.
brother.
Get that money
Congrats
signed.
again.
Right.
Bro.
Because that was a lot of money.